And joining us on the news from the United Kingdom for an analysis of UK lawmakers' inquiry into the Boris Johnson Partygate is a global affairs analyst, Benga Onifade. Good to have you join us.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. This is the first time any prime minister has ever been adjudged to have lied to the House of Commons. The first time actually through a formal panel. How significant is this for Boris Johnson and the Conservative Party?
Sorry, the line is a bit poor. How quickly what? Sorry, what's the question?
I was asking you how significant this is for Boris Johnson and the Conservative Party.
Oh, of course, this is actually very significant. I mean, for the past 13 years, the Conservatives have been in power in the United Kingdom. And I think over the last, especially over the last year, whereby, we just had, Rishi Sunak as the new prime minister, what we expect is, we are at, changing times really, record inflation, record, employment. Things are just grinding back. And of course, last year when people just thought, we've been able to draw a line and put everything behind us, but now we just got this whole new, this new thing that's been boiling under the water. So it's actually very significant. And as you can see, and again, I mean, you could look at the squabble with Rishi Sunak actually coming out, talking about, I didn't tell you not to do this, and, Rishi, and, each of them exchanging words. So it's actually very significant. And you can tell, the prime minister is actually such a role whereby, we're talking about such an entrenched role, and people don't expect this at all, behavioral model. But unfortunately, we are where we are right now. And, he's actually just thinning the process as to, change of leadership, really. And it just makes Conservatives the more ridiculous party like people think they are. So it's unfortunate where we are, but it's actually a very significant one. And I know they want to draw the line and get on. But of course, Boris Johnson would not sign off quietly without a shout.
And he has responded to this. But, a lot of people wonder what this means for him, especially when you look at the fact that, he was sacked from the Times for making up a quote when he was a young reporter. He was also sacked from the Conservative front bench for lying. I was going through an article where the writer said one of the ministers described him as a sort of bloke who could fall down a manhole head first and still land on his feet. Could he come back? Could he survive this and make a comeback in British politics?
I mean, the one thing about Boris Johnson is you never write him off. Right from early days, he's actually been defying odds right from his days at Oxford University when he was a student. But can he come back? I mean, if you think about what they've accused him for or charged him for, campaign of abuse, misleading the House intentionally and the committee, breaching confidence, impugning the committee, and of course undermining the political process, especially based on his feedback to the House after he was being charged over this thing and the suspension 90 days. Can he come back? I don't think he can come back right now, because if you look at it, we got Rishi Sunak at the helm of affairs, and even if he decides to come back right now, I think Rishi Sunak, who's the head of the political party, Conservatives, can decide to block him and say, okay, if you want to come back, you want to come back as an independent, and which kind of means is just decried the him of coming back really. But of course, with their position being low right now in terms of points and views from the people, if Labour is able to take charge, and of course by that time Conservative might just get another head. I think from frontline politics might be, but right now I wouldn't think he's going to come back. But it might give another few years after Rishi Sunak's just no longer the prime minister. If Labour wins, then of course you might think he might decide to come back. But right now, in terms of frontline politics, in the near time, I don't think he will be able to bounce back right now.
And former prime ministers will usually get over £100,000 a year to run their office. But there are now calls that he be stripped of those allowances. What sort of consequences is he likely to face?
I mean, of course, we're looking at record inflation. We're looking at record people struggling. This is 2023. What have you done to deserve it? Of course, because while they're in here, they're not allowed to take on other jobs or, etc. So do I think they deserve it? It's on a personal opinion, I probably think yes. I mean, of course, Liz Truss, who only served for 44 days, unfortunately still has to be there. And but again, it's this thing has to be put onto to debate, and and then again, have the country got the money? I know it's not a lot of money in the scheme of things in terms of what the country can afford, but does it really break the bank? How much does it affect the because if you look at the political process in the UK, generally, it's not exactly monetarily attractive, okay? People don't go there for the now. They go there for the aftermath. So does it really affect the country? I don't think it's a big talking point. But I think the key point is the fact that people don't trust the politicians while they're there. They don't even think they make the policies to suit the populace. They think they make the policies to suit themselves. So if you think about, do they deserve it right now? I probably think they do, but the policy's got to be attractive to the common man. And of course, where United Kingdom is right now at the moment, it's not, it's not in the high echelon, and they're just trying to reclaim the greats in the Great Britain, unfortunately. So in the scheme of things, it's not really a big brand what people are complaining about. I think it's more about the policies and trying to regain the trust of the politicians.
And you make a very interesting point there, because all around the world we see that trust deficit between politicians and the people, and it's not just in the UK. But over and over again, when we see this kind of things happen, it means that, look, there is now a wider gap in that trust deficit. What does this mean, not just for Boris Johnson, but generally for the members of parliament and the people that they lead?
Right, I didn't quite get that. In terms of, are you speaking in terms of the status of the United Kingdom as they stand in the world, on the world stage?
I'm speaking for the United Kingdom, members of parliament in the United Kingdom, and for the masses in the UK.
Okay, so I think for some reason it's just not very clear. But what based on what I can draw from the conversation is the fact that number one, you've got the MP at the helm of affairs. It's the same kind of people who's been running it. I'm just going on expanding what I said earlier, because the line is quite poor. I apologize if I'm not answering your question. Well, one thing Tony Blair initially said was that, back in the days when he was the Prime Minister, UK was such a strong force. And he said, right now, let's just say there's something big, there's a big deal going on. If Biden, who's still very much at the top of the world, America, we people tend to call the world police, if he's going to pick up the phone, is he going to call the United Kingdom first? He's not really sure. Is he going to call Rishi Sunak first? So first, he's not really sure. But that's what I'm actually grabbing from what you said. I apologize if I'm not answering your question, but I couldn't really hear that.
Just in 30 seconds, let me just rephrase it so you can answer in 30 seconds. I was asking you what this means for that trust deficit already existing between the British public and the members of parliament.
Oh, of course. Again, what does it mean? It means, I think it does actually mean a lot. I mean, in certain stance, it's something they probably could suspend if they can, because one thing people have actually said in the science is that, if you don't do very well, why should you get rewarded? And people don't think the past few, 3, 4 prime ministers have actually exactly done well. So it doesn't exactly affect the deficit, because it's not a lot of money in the scheme of things, but it's a deficit in terms of confidence. It dents their confidence further from the public view. I apologize, I couldn't really hear the first time. It seems better now.
No, it's fine. Thank you so much for talking to us, as always.
Thanks,
Global Affairs analyst. It's fine.
Thank you.